first graders. I hope you're doing great today. I'm going to do a quick review of our amazing words. I think everybody knows selfish pretty well by now. You probably already knew it anyway. But selfish is when you're only thinking of yourself. Like this guy right here, he is not sharing the cake. He's only thinking of himself. And freedom is when you have the opportunity to go wherever you want to go. It's not being in a cage like that mouse. It's being free to move about wherever you want, like this mouse here. Miserable is when you just feel awful inside and you like things are not going well and you're just not happy at all. Shrug is when you just lift your shoulders and you say, I don't know, or I don't even care. Sometimes that's what we do sometimes when we're trying to express that we don't really know something or care about something. And then yesterday we talked about ignore. Ignore is when somebody's trying to tell you something, or maybe you know something's right, but you're just ignoring it because you don't want to do the right thing. Kind of like our story about the mole and the baby bird. He knew he was kind of ignoring the idea that he should get rid of that, let that baby bird be free. Okay, this is a new word for today. It's proper. Proper is when you do things the right way. This guy right here, have your parents or your teachers ever said, don't tip your chair back? Sometimes it can break the chair legs or it might make you tip over. That happens sometimes. So that is not the proper way to sit, but this is the proper way to sit. So this word is proper. And then the next word, I couldn't find a picture for it, but I found some words that reminded me of it. So there's the was scarcely. When something scarcely happens, it hardly ever happens, it rarely happens, it almost never happens, or it just slightly happens. So scarcely is when it just is almost never, it means almost never. And then the last word is fond. Fond, F-O-N-D, rhymes with pond. Fond is when you really like something. So that mole really liked the baby bird, even though he needed to let it go. But anyways, when you're fond of something, so you're probably fond of your pets, fond of your friends, fond of your stuffed animals. Usually, like when it comes to parents or family, we say we really love them and we really love our friends too. But being fond of something, it just means you really like it a lot. Okay, so those are those words. Your spelling words this week have the ow sound, the O-U sound. And the ones last week had O-W. So we're just going to do a little chart here. Some O-W words have the long O sound, and some, can you bring it in a little bit? Some have the O-U sound, which is ow. So some say O and some say ow. So I have the word bow here, like a bow that goes in your hair. This is a tricky word because this actually can be bow, like you're going to bow like to the king or something. But we're going to use it for bow today because we want a long O word. So the O-W says O in bow for your hair. Sometimes O-W says ow, like crowd. You wouldn't say crowed. There was a big crowd at Six Flags. It's not a big crowd anywhere right now. The word pound has the ow sound. Actually, oh yeah, okay, ow. So, yeah, okay, and out has the ow sound. I just realized my chart doesn't really make sense because it should be like this. Let me show you what it should be like. It should be O-W and O-U words that have either the ow sound or the O sound. So that makes more sense. Crow is the long O sound and low is the long O sound. So sometimes we see O-W and it might say O, and sometimes it might say ow, and sometimes even words like there's a word dough has O-U and it has the long O sound. So these two diphthongs are a little bit interchangeable, not for reals, but they do sometimes make the same sound. So we're going to practice that. Hopefully you can kind of keep that in mind when we do spelling words this week. And then just another quick review is the LE syllable, or the ending on words. So like the word simple, they're always in like at least 2 syllable words. Simple, puzzle, the LE just says ol. Or candle, and jungle or jingle. So the LE says ol. All right. Okay, in your workbook today, on page 535, you are going to do some spelling word practice that have, all your spelling words have the ow sound. So remember, like on all your spelling words, when you're taking your test tomorrow, I want you to remember the OU says ow. And so when you hear that sound in your word, you just have to think of what the first sound is and the ending sound. So like, maybe I can write this a little bigger. It's like if the word's mouth, I'm just going to think for the M sound is ow. All of these words have the OU, and then th is the TH. Outh, like that. Or if the word is out, I'm going to write ow. Okay, ow is OU, or our, like that. Maybe the word is count. Out. So this is going to help you. If you think about it, you have OU in all of those words, and you just have to figure out which one goes there. And then on this one, you're going to connect the matching list words. All right, and then I'm going to talk to you about some of the other things that you'll be doing this on this assignment. Okay, we're going to talk for just a minute about folk tales. So the story that you've been reading about Mole and Baby Bird has some of the elements of a folk tale because the characters are all animals that act like people. But a folk tale is a little bit different because it might end in and they lived happily ever after, or it might start with once upon a time. So if you turn to this page 82 in this book right here, you're going to read a story that is a folk tale. Now, just by looking at the picture, you can think, oh, it's probably about a cuckoo named, about a little cuckoo in there that the story is going to be about. And folk tales often start with once upon a time. And something that's important about folk tales that makes them a little bit different than just animal fantasies like Mole and Baby Bird is that sometimes there's a lesson that's learned in them. So once upon a time, long before there were cities and roads, Cuckoo flew through the forest in Mexico. Cuckoo had shining feathers in shades of red, green, yellow, and blue. She also had the most beautiful voice in the forest. There she is. There's Cuckoo. Be quiet, Cuckoo, chirped Blackbird. Come help us gather seeds. But Cuckoo just kept singing. The other birds kept working. After the other animals went to sleep, Cuckoo saw a fire coming. It would burn up all the seeds. What should she do? Then she saw Mole in his hole in the ground. Cuckoo had an idea. Cuckoo carried all the seeds to Mole's hole so they would not burn. The seeds were saved, but the soot made Cuckoo's colorful feathers black. The smoke made her lovely voice scratchy and rough. The animals in the forest decided that Cuckoo was the bravest bird in the forest. Because of her bravery, now all cuckoos have dull feathers and harsh voices. Okay, so that is a folk tale because, it talks a little bit about the fact that being beautiful isn't always the best thing, because then she didn't become so beautiful. But it also, I forgot to mention this, that folk tales often explain events in nature. So cuckoo birds actually have dull feathers and rough voices, and so this is teaching you how or why they have that. It's not for reals, but it's just an explanation that they came up with. When I was reading this story, it kind of reminded me of Rainbow Fish, if you've ever read that one a little bit, because Rainbow Fish was so beautiful but not happy until he gave away his beautiful scales. Anyways, okay. The last thing that we're going to talk about is writing letters, just a review on writing letters. So if you remember, we're going to talk about one more thing besides that. But if you remember, when you write letters, you have to start with a greeting and end with what's it called? You end with ending, like you say, love your so-and-so or whoever. It's a conclusion to your letter. So I'm just going to read you a little story, a little letter that was written. Okay. If somebody was going to write a letter to Mole in our story, it might sound like this. Dear Mole, I was happy to hear. So Dear Mole was the beginning of the letter that's important, the greeting. Dear Mole, I was happy to hear that when a baby bird fell out of its nest, you took it home. You made a nest and you fed it. That bird was probably pretty scared when it fell, and you did the right thing. Your mom and dad must be so proud of you. It would be a good thing if all birds that fell out of nests are saved by you. It makes me feel very happy that you saved the bird. Your friend, Lily. All right, so that's just an idea of a letter that somebody might write. Okay, but just remember it has to have those elements. All right, and then the last thing we're going to talk about really quickly is pronouns. And pronouns, we talked about them before, so hopefully you can remember. It's when we replace a noun with another word. So like, here's some pronouns. Like the word he is a pronoun, and she is a pronoun, and we is a pronoun, and they. So these are just words that take the place of any noun. So for instance, when you're looking at this on 536, it says birds can fly. So the word that's underlined is birds. So what's a word that you could say there instead of birds? You wouldn't say he can fly because it's talking about more than one bird. Maybe if it was in a story, you might say, and if it was one bird and it was a boy bird, but what you're going to use is they, because they can fly. Or a mole is an animal. And so for a mole, you would say it. It is an animal. Mole and I feed the bird. So you look at the part that's underlined. Mole and I, that's two characters. So you would say we. And I'm going to let you finish those off. But you're going to look at the word that's underlined and you're going to replace it with a pronoun that would make sense, the best sense. All right, so you're going to do some assignments in there, and then also in your decodable reader, you're going to do, let's see, page 185, Time for Bed. Okay, so read that story. At least read it 2 times. All right, have a great day, first graders.